Am I normally this close? It looks like I'm very close. And it also looks like I have a growth on my forehead. So ladies, again, you've given me some recommendations. But if you know anything to make this go away, feel free. And by ladies, I mean gay men and the ladies who watch. So we have a plethora of new products today, and I decided to group them together, YSL and Chanel, because those are our new releases that we have to look at today. And not all of them are brand new products, but some of them are brand new, like haven't come out yet. So that's going to be exciting to look at, if that sounds good to you. And looking at the new Chanel or YSL Cushion Foundation sounds good. Looking at the 2 new shades of the YSL, well, 1.5 new shades of the YSL blushes. Looking at the new Forbidden Whisper Quad from YSL. And looking at a plethora of new lip products from Chanel sounds good to you, then I would encourage you to please consider liking, subscribing, following along, shopping my links, and all that goodness. Okay, so we have some new products from YSL, and the big one really being the new Cushion Foundation. Now this is the YSL Skin Affair Soft Glow Cushion Foundation, and unlike a lot of other YSL products, this one is made in Korea, as the cushion foundations tend to be. I have mine in LN10. It is a 12-month shelf life, and yeah, made in Korea. So we're going to take a look at these, because I've not always had the best luck with cushion foundations, like Tier. It's okay, but it's never been great. So I'm interested to see how YSL does it, and I notice other brands are coming out with them more and more now too. I think Armani's got one coming on the YSL train. We also have 2 new blushes, and I say 1.5 because one of them is just a re-promote and the other one is new, and I don't believe that the new one has released in the US yet, but they should be coming any day now. So as part of this new YSL launch, they have 2 new blushes. The re-promoted one is Hot Mauve, which came out either last summer or the summer before, and Peppery Rose, which is a nude. This has to be about the 20th, 19th, 20th of these shades. They really come out with a lot of shades. And then to finish off the YSL newness, we have one of the 4 new quads from YSL that should be hitting any day now. One of them has already hit Nordstrom, so I'm expecting the others to hit soon. And this is the Forbidden Whisper Quad. So let's get started. I don't have a new primer, but I do have a YSL primer that I absolutely love, so I'm going to put that one on. And this is the YSL Touche Eclat primer, and it's one of my all-time favorites. It just provides a beautiful base for the product to go on. Just makes your skin feel so smooth. I don't know that it's necessarily like pore filling, but it's beautiful, so I'll take it. Okay, so let's get to the Cushion Foundation. Again, made in Korea, 0.5 ounces, 12-month shelf life, really beautiful packaging. Same cushiony foundation pack, or the same, cushiony couture clutch that they have on kind of all of their products now, pretty much. And like I said, I got mine in light nude 10, and I'm nervous because it seems like that would be light for me, but we'll see. Now again, it comes with like a standard cushion foundation, so you open it up and it comes with a little puff applicator, and then when you open it, the little puff flies off and you have your foundation, and you gently press the puff onto the foundation, get it. If you have excess, you can wipe it off on here. And these cushion foundations from Korea have become so popular. Am I going to get my puff back? Pause. Puff. So people love these. I've had mixed results, but I've only really used Tier. So we're going to try this one today, and upon looking at it, it looks like it might be kind of dark. But we'll see. If this is light neutral 10, and these are a mess to try to figure out your shade match on like the Nordstrom website. They're all jumbled up. I don't know why they did that. But so you just press it and pick up product. You don't need a lot, but just kind of press it. And then if you have excess, you put it over here. And don't worry, you'll be coming back to it. And then you just pat it in. Okay, that's not as dark as it looked in the container. But I'm showing you, you saw how little product I picked up. And that's kind of the point of these, is it's supposed to give you like kind of a glowy, natural finish, but you don't need a ton of product. Now, some people will use a brush and prefer to use a brush. I sometimes do because I find these slip around and move on you. But this one seems to be working pretty well today. And of course, if you're traveling, this would be really great. I mean, look how much coverage I'm getting from one pat. And it's covered up all that redness. Now we'll see up here what it does. But now I'm going to go back over here and I'm going to pick up any excess that I have over here from the first run. And then pat again and pick up any product. I mean, that is beautifully covering the red spots. And you can also use these to place the product and then go back in with your brush if you want to distribute it. But these do a really nice job of patting just the amount of product you need. Now, I will say the undertone in this does look a little beige. I would even say like olivey. It's not a perfect match, but it's not strange enough that it won't work. Okay, now let's look up here. Let me grab a pat. That's how little product you need. And see what we can do about this up here. Because if it can make that go away, it's a miracle product. I would say that did a damn good job. It's almost like this shade is perhaps just a little too neutral for me. I tend to be a cool, maybe I should have tried a cool, but you know, you can always make these kind of work, but you're using so little product and look at the amount of coverage you got from it. So it looks really beautiful on. And you can just kind of go back in once you've placed it and kind of touch up and remove any excess. And like I said, I think Armani's coming out with one. Dior has had one for a while. La Prairie has one. So it's just interesting to see. Does La Prairie have one? I might have misspoke there. But it's a beautiful finish. And it's kind of a natural finish, just a little glowy. I like a little more glow than this, but that's okay because my concealer I'm going to use has glow in it. And for that, I'm going to use a classic, which is the YSL Touche Eclat Concealer. Now, YSL has a matte concealer, but I tend to find it a little dry looking. And so I kind of prefer this Touche Eclat one, even though it has, you know, light to medium-ish coverage. It's not a lot of coverage, but it works well. And I think it will work well with this. And it will also brighten this up just a little bit because the shade is a little deep. And I can put some up here and get a little bit more coverage and down the nose. I mean, it's a classic product for a reason. So now I'm going to take a refer. This is just a BO4 and work this product in. Again, this is not new, but it's a classic. They used to have a pen foundation or a pen concealer that was full coverage. and they discontinued it. I don't know why, because I always liked it more than the standard concealer they have, the matte one. And now YSL also has a glowy foundation, but it's never hit the United States. And I thought it was okay. It wasn't great. I have it. I think this is actually, this looks better. So I think this looks really nice. I don't have a setting powder from YSL, and the Chanel powder I have, you know, is a little bit heavy. So this is the one time I'm going to deviate a little bit, but I'm going to use just a tiny drop of my La Prairie setting powder under the eye. I mean, this is my favorite setting powder, so why not? And that works beautifully. And I think that looks really nice. So let's go on to a bronzer, and neither have a brand new product out. So I grabbed my standard Le Beige bronzer from Chanel. And you have to be careful with this one. They have come out with some new colors, but it does pack a punch. So you want to be a little careful with it when you're placing it. But it is a beautiful product, and it blends in really well. And with the new colors, they're not, they used to be quite orange leaning, but they're not like that anymore. Maybe got a little overzealous over here. But that's okay, because I'm correcting that shade a little bit too. So it just looks like I've been out in the sun a lot, which I have. I went to the pool the other day, and I am sunburnt. Let's see if you can see. Yeah. So, but that's a beautiful product. I don't use it all the time because it's kind of bulky, but it's very good. Okay. So YSL has 2 new blushes. Well, I don't know why they're calling this one new. It's a re-promote. Maybe it's new in other parts of the world. But it's in the shade Hot Mauve. And it came out, I think, last summer. I don't know what about it is hot, because it's a pretty muted color, but it's beautiful. And then they've released a new shade in Europe and Asia, and it's supposed to come here. I expect it any day now. And it is in Peppery Rose. So let me show you that. And it is a very neutral, kind of washed out, desaturated pink. So those two together are really beautiful. So how do we want to do this? Well, let's put the Hot Mauve up a little higher, since we know how it's going to look, because this one came out last year and it was a popular one. I bet it just didn't come out to the rest of the world, and that's why they're calling it new. But it's a beautiful color. It's one of my favorites from the YSL line. But let's really pick on or try this Peppery Rose, because it is new, and like I said, it should be coming any day now. Let me do my magic eraser on my brush, and then grab some of this. And it's pretty light for me, so I'm going to get a lot of product here, just to show you. Those two do go well together, but this is a much lighter shade. It's very subtle on me, but it's a pretty shade. The thing is, they have so many like neutrally or kind of tannish ones now. I'm not sure you necessarily need that, but it is beautiful. It has a little more pink in it than some of the other ones. But I'm thinking about like Rose Haze with a light hand. I'm sure you could get a similar effect. So, you know, it's just something to think about. Now, they have 4 new quads coming. One of them, Exotic Mirage, I think, is already available at Nordstrom. And the other three should be coming any day now. There's a purple one, a turquoise one, and this one called Forbidden Whisper, which is kind of nudes and pink. So I thought, well, this will go well with this. So I'll just do a quick look with this one. But it's in the standard format where you have two mattes and then kind of a sparkly metallic and then a sparkly topper. So I'll just show you these so you can see. I've already tried this one and it's not one of my favorites just because it's so subtle. But it will go well with this look, and it certainly goes well with those two new blushes. There's just not a lot of depth in it, but that's okay. So what I'm going to do is on a 14, I'm going to grab the top pink shade and just put that throughout the crease. I mean, you're going to get something very light and ethereal with this because there's just not a ton of pigment with it. But that's okay because the other ones in the series that are coming out for late fall or late summer fall are very pigmented, the turquoise and the purple. And I really like the exotic Mirage one. If you haven't tried it, it's kind of different from some of the other brown quads in their series. Of course, they've probably got 25 of these now too. But it's really beautiful. This was probably my least favorite just because of the lack of depth. Now I'm going to go in with this kind of purpley shade. And it's very light. On the outer corner here. And it's almost the same depth as that pink. It's just got a little bit, it's just cooler. Actually, this quad in general is cool. There's no real warmth in it. The pinks in it aren't even cool. And while I'm at it, I'll put some of that purple color under. If you really like light looks and you like cool tones, I think you would love this palette because it's really, really light and cool, which is not something you necessarily find all the time. Okay, I'm going to take this metallic pink and just put it all over the lid. I mean, it's simple. It's easy. This is kind of foolproof. And if you wanted more depth, you obviously could use a liner and create a little more depth. But I don't know that that's necessarily the point of this particular quad. I think it's supposed to be kind of simple and easy. And then there's this white topper shade that I can use on the inner corner, obviously. Really concentrated. And then, well, under the brow a little. Just these need to be tweezed. We're going to ignore that. And then I'm just going to pat it instead of swirling to get just kind of the sparkle and put it in the center here and work it up. So it's not a groundbreaking look. It's pretty, it's simple, it's easy. I think if you like very light ethereal looks and you like cool tones, I think you'll really like it. Now, YSL came out with a new mascara earlier this year, and I do enjoy it. I love their Lash Clash, but it's more bold in your face, where this one's a little more subtle. And this is the Lash Latex one, and they just have it in black so far, but it reminds me a lot of the Prada one, where it's just a little bit lighter, and it's more separating. It's not nearly as dramatic as the YSL Lash Clash, which is my favorite, or one of my favorite mascaras, but this is nice as an alternative. Now, the only YSL or Chanel eye pencils I have, eyeliners, are just wildly not bright. Like the YSL one I have is blue, so that wouldn't really work with this. But I did have an old Chanel. This one's in mauve chrome. I think it maybe came out 2 holidays ago. but I think it'll work fine for just the waterline. And this is one of the thicker, like, multi-use ones, which I actually prefer to the Chanel eyeliner. The regular eyeliners, they tend to be very dry. These can be too, depending on the color. But this one's pretty nice. And it goes, you know, it's a light kind of purpley gray shade, so it works well with this kind of look. Okay, I don't have a new highlighter from YSL or Chanel. However, Chanel did come out with their Duo de Baumes earlier this year, and they're just now kind of hitting the market. I notice even Ulta has them now. And so from the Gentle Glow Balm Duo, I'm going to grab the highlighter and just use it today. So I can at least use a new product as a highlighter. And I'm just going to grab some on my finger, because I don't want to lift any of that new blush I have on. And I'm just going to place that. It's just a subtle, like, pink, but it does give a pretty glow there, you can see. And these are beautiful. If you haven't tried these, I really like the blushes and the highlighters. These are beautiful products from Chanel. I've always liked their blush sticks and their Balm Essential highlighters, and so to have it like this is really great, particularly for like travel. So we got a really simple purpley kind of desaturated look here, but that's okay, because the other star of the show today is the shit ton of Chanel lip products to look at. And we really do have a lot to look at. So I'm trying to think of the best way to do this. And I think what I'm going to do is, let's look at the lipsticks now, because they're going to stain my lips, particularly the longwear ones. So what we'll do is I know this is gripping television. What we'll do is we'll look at the lip glosses first. So Chanel came out with they've had like 3 or 4 series of these, but they've had the Chanel Glossy Mirror lip glosses, which are really beautiful. They're just kind of a standard lip gloss. These are 2 of the shades I had. This is, wait a minute, that's a new one. See, that's where it gets tricky. This is an old one. So this is Tenderici, and this one is Excitation. And these were just a beautiful everyday lip gloss, and they've reformulated them into a new formula that is much thinner. It doesn't have as much color payoff, but it's thinner, and it's got kind of a cross between a lip oil and a lip gloss. So some of you may really like that. I like these. They're more buildable, and they are thinner, and they do feel more like an oil. But if you're looking for like that standard gloss, these are being discontinued. So I have a couple of different colors here. I think they came out with 16. I think I have 8, 9. Yeah, 9. And if you're confused and you've got, as part of your collection, the new ones all have start with the number 4 on them. But then, of course, I put my little labels on them because I can't read. So let's take a minute and swatch these, and I'll show you what they look like on the lips. I don't know how exciting this will be because some of them are very low pigment, but they're a beautiful product nonetheless. So the first one I have here is called Opulence. You own everything. And it's just kind of a beautiful red. Well, let's see how they describe it on the Chanel website, because maybe they've put good descriptions out for once. They don't always do that though, so we'll see. And they didn't this time either. Oh wait, no, they did. Okay, well, not a ton. So this is described as a sienna red. I think so. So I'll show you what this one looks like on the lips. There's a good amount of pigment there, but they're much thinner and they feel really nice on the lips because they feel kind of more like an oil, cross between an oil and a gloss, which is kind of what everybody's doing right now. So that is Opulence, the burnt sienna red. So we will take that off and we will go to another one. Okay. So then we have Reflect. Reflect is described as a milky opalescent lilac. I don't know how milky it is. I've looked at it and it's fine. I don't get milky from it, but it does have that little bit of a lilac shift there. And I guess it is a little kind of creamy looking, but I'm not getting a ton of like milky from it, so I'm not sure what that's about. Charms is Charms a limited edition? No, some of these are limited edition, but Charms is described as a tender pink, and this is probably the most standard one they have in the collection. It's just your standard pink. You can see there, it looks a lot like the other one, just with a warmer, pinker shift. Then we'll go to sort of the neutrals, the ones that I have that are a little more neutral. And the first one I have is Imperiente. Imperiente is described as a dusty orange. That sounds like a stripper. Beautiful color, though. You can see it's more orange and more neutral, less red leaning than this one. Then we have Accessory. Accessory is described as a beige. Okay. I'm not going to get a lot out of that. Yeah, it's cooler. So that's the beige. So again, from the left over, we have Opulence, Imperiente. Let's see, we have we have Opulence, Reflect, and then the pink one in the middle is Charms, then Imperiente, and then Accessory. So those are the first 5. And then these last 4 were a little bit more unique, I thought. This first one I really, really like. This is called Bijou, and this is a shimmering rosewood. Let's see, running out of hands here. Running out of arm space. You can see it down here. You can see it's got a little bit of a metallic in it, but it's a beautiful color. I love a rosewood. So I'll show you what this one looks like on. It's just a really pretty color, and I love that gold kind of reflex in there. So that is Bijou. And I'm afraid I'm going to have to take it off because the next one I know people are going to want to see. So it is the color Ornament. This is probably the boldest one, and this is a metallic fuchsia. And so let me show you what that one looks like. Yeah, it's definitely different than the others. It's a very bold hot pink. You can see there, it's a cool, beautiful kind of hot pink color. The last 2 I have are just kind of clear with sparkle. The first one is called Infinement, and it is described as a shimmering gray purple. And it really does look like it's clear with just a little bit of a gray purple undertone. And then the last one that I picked up, I think, like I said, I think there's 8 or 10 more, is Electrique, which is described as a jade green. And this is one that I do know is limited edition. And so let me put that over here. So you can see these look very different. I mean, these don't look very different. This one's got more of a gray purple undertone. This one's got that kind of teal greenish flip, but they are beautiful nonetheless. And so what I'll do is go back over these really quickly. So we have Opulence, then we have Reflect, the milky one. It is getting milkier as it sits, so maybe that's kind of, you know, an interesting facet of it. Then Charms, which is the standard pink. Then we have Imperiente and Accessory, an orange and a beige. Then down here we have Bijou, which I think is my favorite. It's that rosewood with the gold sparkle. Then that really bold hot pink, which I have on my lips right now, Ornament. And then the two clear ones that I picked up that have multicolored sparkles. This one is Infinite, which is the purpley gray one, and this one is the green one called Electrique. They also have a pink one like this, and they have a yellow one like this. Now, I don't have anything that's like a perfect match for these. I have Tenderisi, which is old. This is in the Glossimier formula, and it is thicker. I can just tell right off the bat, and it's perhaps not as shiny. So this is Tenderisi, which is more of like a coral. So I don't think there's anything there that would match. But I did think maybe this Extinction, or no, it's not Extinction. That would be terrible. Excitation would be a good one to look at because it's a clear one with just sparkles. And you can see there, it's pretty similar to these. These appear thinner. This one's a little thicker. But I do like the clear with the gold sparkles. So maybe they'll come out with this one again. I think that Charms and maybe one other are the only ones that they've redone verbatim from the old to the new, just in the new formula. So they're really beautiful. Lip glosses, however, and highlighters are two of the things that are the hardest to demo because you kind of have to see them in person. You're not going to get a whole lot of effect from them. But I at least wanted to show you and kind of show you how they compare. These are just thicker and maybe a little less shiny. These are very shiny because they have kind of that lip oil feel. So I'm going to take this off because we have lipsticks to look at. So I'll be right back. So I have some new lipsticks, but most of these are just going to be for comparison's sake. The new one I have from the summer collection, I've already done a video on, but I'll show you the color nonetheless. And it is the Electrique, and this is in the Cocoa Bomb, the one that's a little bit less pigmented, but very shiny. This would actually go really well with that hot pink lip gloss. But that's Electrique. That's a new one. And then from the standard satin formula, the Rouge Cocoa Satin, I picked up two new ones. And the only one I have in this formula is Flying Cloud. And it's kind of a mauve purple. And these two new ones that I picked up are nothing like that. So I'm not even going to show you comparisons. The first one I don't think is new. I don't know. It's new to me. And it is called New York. And it is a beautiful brick red. Look at that pigment. But the new one I do know is a new shade is Bel Respiro. I think is how you say it. It's shade 100. And it is described as a beige orange. And it looks very strange in the tube. But let me show you what it looks like on. It's sort of like if beige and orange sherbet had a love child. You can get like a 90s effect from it, but it's not quite like a concealer lip. I do think it would require a liner, but I'm going to show it to you today without, just to show you this color because it is unique. And this formula is very good. It's very creamy. So you can see there, it's an interesting color. It's not like a concealer lip because it's got a little bit more orange in it than a standard concealer lip. But I bet with like a brownish, you know, liner, that could be really cool looking. So that's one of the new ones, and I really just picked that up because I don't have any color like that in my collection. I've got lots of neutrals, but this is described as an orange beige, and it kind of is. It almost looks a little bit like sherbet, although I will say on the Chanel website, it appears much more orange than this. So it's actually pretty wearable. Then this is New York, and then this is in the Cocoa Bomb formula, the new shade Electrique, which is part of the summer collection. So those are the three new ones of those I picked up. So let me get those off because the Star is one of my all-time favorite lipstick formulas, and it is the dual-ended where it has the liquid lipstick on one side and the clear, I'm sure that noise is not attractive, the clear gloss on the other. And if you've never tried these, go run and get them now because they are my favorite, well, one of my favorite lip products on the market. Because if you're going somewhere or you've got you know, a night where you're going to be out drinking, these, once they set, do not move. You might want to replace the gloss part of it just to make it shiny again, but once these set, they don't move, and you have to use pretty much an oil-based cleanser to get them off. Now, I'm not a big liquid lipstick fan. They always tend to make my lips look very dry and kind of like a butthole, but this formula doesn't, and others have tried. Dior tried at the holidays to do this. It just wasn't the same. For some reason, Chanel has mastered this formula. So they have 2 new shades. I think in total they probably have like 24 or 25 shades. I think there are 3 or 4 total, but the United States has only got 2 new shades of these. And so I'm going to show you those today and then show you a comparison. And we'll try them on, and I'll show you how to use them if you've never tried them before, though I'm sure you probably have if you're watching me, because I think most of the people that watch me are really into makeup. So the first one I have is called Dance. And you know what? Let me pull it up so to do it justice, because Chanel tends to see colors in a different way than I do. So let's see, Chanel Dance. Oh, nope, that is a prostitute, it appears, named Chanel dancing. So that's not what I want. Although I will save that for later because she looks like she's having a really nice time. Okay, so let's see. Let's go to the new Tenure glosses, the duos. They're under the liquid lipstick category, even though they have other kinds of liquid lipsticks too. They have a matte one, but these are just spectacular. One of the best products on the market in any category. This first one, like I said, is called Dance. It's described as a deep redwood. So let me show you that. It's not going to go really with this look today, but the other one will. So this is Dance. And when it dries down, well, I'll show you, but then you'll put the clear on top of it once it's dry and tacky, and it will make it super duper shiny. But that is a beautiful shade. The other new shade is called Twist, and Twist is described as a pink nude, which they have a good amount of in their collection, but this one's just slightly different. So I'm going to put it over here so we can compare. Yeah, that's a beautiful color. So that is a pink nude. Now, I've seen in Charlotte Holdcroft's video, she got one of the ones that's only in Europe right now, and it was lighter. It was more like a corally kind of nude color. So I'll be interested to see if those get over here to the States. But this one's really beautiful. So this is Twist and this is Dance. And we'll put Twist on in a second, but let's just do some quick comparisons. For Dance, the two I pulled that I thought were closest were actually the one called Burning Red. Let's see. It may not be close at all. Yeah, this one's much, much more red and warm, but it's a similar depth. And then Coral Pink. Oh yeah, this one's much more pink. Actually, it's described as a redwood. I have one that's called rosewood. I think it's more of a metallic. Yeah, it is a metallic, but maybe it's a similar shade. It's cooler. This one here. They come in metallic or matte, but these two new ones that I have are matte. So there really isn't anything quite like this one. That's very interesting original color. At least not in my collection, and I have a good amount of these, but too many of them. Now the other new shade, Twist, is described as that intense pink nude, and the two that I thought would be closest to that would be the one called Pink Nude, which is the color description, except this is the name of this one, and it is slightly warmer in tone and perhaps a little bit less pigmented. It's pretty close. This one's just a little bit more intense, the new one, but I think if you have pink nude, you might be okay. The other one is called Tender Beige, which is one I really like. I think I wear this one a good amount. And okay, it's actually really close. So this one called Tender Beige down here, it's got a little bit more brown and a little bit less kind of that nudie base, but it's kind of like if these two had a love child, it would be that one. This one's deeper, but it really is. So I think if you have these two, or either one of these, Pink Nude or Tender Beige, I think you could build it up or shear it down to be the new Twist shade. But these are the two new shades, Dance and Twist, and then the ones that I thought were the closest comparison. Dance didn't really have one, but the Twist did. So here's how these work if you've never tried them. You can use a liner. I haven't really found that I necessarily needed one because the applicator is pretty precise, but you go ahead and you put the liquid lipstick on. Now you might think, well, I would want it matte. That is not what these are designed for. So I would never recommend just wearing this without the gloss on top, because this isn't formulated to work that way. So it will be very sticky because that's its intention. You'll see why in a second. It is a beautiful color. Because of the applicator, though, you can kind of line it. Okay, so you put it on, and then you let it wait a minute to 2 minutes. So we can talk about what's going on in the world. I don't know. Serena Williams is coming back to tennis. That concerns me. I love Serena Williams. I was there the night she played her last match. She is now 44, same age as me. And it concerns me of her getting on a grass court again, that she could hurt herself. And I just don't know how competitive she'll be. But any chance to see a Williams sister on the court is a great thing. So I am happy about that. Okay, I think it's been about a minute now, and you can tell because when you press your lips together, they'll stick. See how they stick? So that's what you want. But then you do have to put the gloss on top because it's just not formulated. It wouldn't be comfortable. So then after it's got to that level, after a minute or two, then you put the gloss on, which is just a clear, beautiful gloss. It's not the shiniest gloss, but it's really beautiful. And you can't use another kind of gloss. Like if you wanted to put your favorite one of those new glosses on top, it wouldn't work. This somehow works with the formula underneath it. So that it locks the pigment in and it will not transfer. People said, well, the Dior ones that came out around the Christmas time were the same. They had like these sparkle duos. They weren't. They still transferred. And they were kind of a glossy mess on like a wine glass. Now, obviously, if you're drinking or eating a lot, you would probably want to replace the gloss portion, but that pigment isn't moving. And in fact, it often takes like an oil cleanser to get it off, but it never looks dry. It always looks really beautiful and hydrated with the shine. And the gloss that's on top, for some reason, works with the bottom product if you've waited that minute and a half or whatever, and it just locks it in and it's not moving. Test. And I can like really go in, like make out hard, like pretending this is like, I don't know, Riz Ahmed or Ryan Gosling. Nothing. It's the only lipstick I've ever seen that does that, and it looks beautiful even after a couple of hours. So I know they're $53 and they're expensive, and some of the colors do look very similar, and I clearly love them because I don't have them all. They've discontinued many of the colors, but it looks like I have 17 of them. And they're worth every penny because they just don't move, and they will look beautiful all night long. You just have to retouch the top gloss occasionally, but it's a very thin, comfortable gloss. But you don't want to put a different gloss on it. It's going to turn into a weird consistency. You want to use this, and it's going to lock it in and be really beautiful. So hopefully that's given you kind of an understanding of new products from Chanel and YSL mixed in with some others and some comparisons. Lots of lip, a new eyeshadow palette, a new foundation, new blush shades. And let's take a look at the foundation. The color has actually kind of oxidized in a way that it's actually a better match for me than it was when I first put it on. And the blush is really beautiful. Of course, that Chanel highlighter is gorgeous too. But yeah, I don't see any like peeling away or weirdness going on with the foundation. It's not as glowy as I would like, but I really like a lot of glow. It's certainly beautiful. It's just kind of a natural finish. It is not like the YSL matte. That one can look very dry on me. This doesn't look dry, but it's described as a soft glow, and I'm not sure that it is that. It's more of a natural, but it's not a drying natural. So I think it's beautiful. I like it a lot better than the Tier one. Of course, it's also double the price of the Tier one. But all in all, I think we've got some beautiful products today. I knew how all of these were going to work, except for the new foundation, because some of these others are some of my all-time favorites. So if you've enjoyed this kind of content and you enjoy this kind of content, then I really would appreciate it if you would like, subscribe, shop my links. It doesn't cost you anything, but it helps out the channel. And you can go down to the description, and I always link the products down there. And then recommend me to others that you think might like this kind of content. So Chanel, YSL, really beautiful products. We're even getting into like fall. And should I show you a little peek? Okay. We have fall coming already, including a new fall palette, Peach Flirt from YSL. Give you a quick little preview. And then Christmas, we have the new Burgundy palette from YSL, and it is beautiful. There's your preview, but they're not coming out for a few months. But what that tells us is it's coming, and we're only halfway through the year. So thank you so much, and I will see you all very soon. Love you. Bye.